to my channel. So as I stated in the stream, the comment, that we are going to be playing with the Profusion Artistry on the Go Into the City palette collab. So basically with this, it comes with a facial brush, 2 eyeshadow brushes, an eyeshadow primer, a face primer, a mini face palette, and shadow palette. So today we are going to show off this little travel city on the go style palette. So let's get started, shall we? As far as primers is concerned, I have learned to try reducing the amount of primers because I've noticed that around my nose area my primers aren't, or my foundation is coming off during the latter half of the day. So I'm going to try learning to reduce and use just some of the better primers that I have. Starting off today, we are going to be using a new primer I got called Florence by Mills Mind Over Matter Oil Blotting Stick and mattifier. So basically with this will help with covering up a lot of the fine lines, pores, and mattifying the oil areas, which I'm just going to be using around my nose and under my eyes. And then just taking my Real Techniques 108 brush here, which is usually used for putty primers. Just going to use this to kind of buff this in. And then for some of my regular primers today, I'm just going to be using the Revlon Color Stay Grip 16-Hour Primer and my She Glam Good Grip Hydrating. You know, I never realized that actually said hydrating. Maybe that's probably one reason of my issues. But we're just going to use these 3 primers to prime the face, especially since for my days where I just do my makeup at home, I don't want to really use a lot of my good primers because, one, the makeup isn't going to stay on all day because as soon as I'm done, I would go end up washing it off, so why waste any of the better products? But that She Glam one is considered one of my better halves to use. Okay. And then for foundation today, I'm just going in with my 2 tried and true foundations, which is going to be my She Glam, if I can find it amongst this mess. Nope. Oh, here she is. My She Glam Complexion Pro Long Lasting Breathable Matte Foundation. Yeah, I wouldn't want to compare myself with him. I'm not saying that disrespectfully, but in a way, I don't want to be considered like somebody else. Good for that. So going in with my foundation in the shade Porcelain, we're also going to use a little bit of my Ulta Beauty Youth Glow Serum Drop Foundations just to give it a little color. And then using my AOA Studio High Def brush, we're just going to use this to kind of buff it in. To answer that, yes I am. No, I am not. Now, as far as contour is concerned, we're going to try... No, there's no confusion in it. To use a bit of this hard candy That is a question I'm not going to answer. I'm going to use my Hard Candy Face Bronze. There's no mental issues here, Mike. You really want to get into it. Where did I set that brush at? Here she is. Because it's called Makeup Artistry. Let people be who they want to be. If they want to sit there and try to be trolls on the internet, that's on their issues. No, anyone else in the comments that wants to be. Because it's using makeup and highlight, I'm not finished with the process yet. No, it's just a generic brush. Nothing really to it. Well, they do, so get over it. And then using my Ellis Tracy Full Coverage Foundation, we're going to use to highlight the center of the forehead. You live your life the way you want to. I'm living mine. Well, you realize there is a difference between foundation and contouring, so of course it's going to be a different color, but you also have to trust the process. Moving on to the brows, I'm going to be going in with my L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear in Mocha with a brush just to kind of get this started. For my highlight brush, it is a Real Techniques number 200. Good for that. And using my NYX Shape on Dip on the Go, we're going to use this to start off with the brows. I usually do the upper half of my makeup first, so when I do shadow, there's nothing that's going to fall down here and mix into it. And then using that Real Techniques brush, we're going to buff out the front edge of these brows. Oh, the background music, it's just all of RuPaul's runway themes, just on a loop, practically. Because God forbid if I try playing anything I like listening to, I'm going to get flagged for... Yeah, pretty much. Brows in the upper half are a little bit easier to work with, because in that way when you do the lower half, you can use the foundation to kind of help clean it up. that. Thank you. This has been a practice I've been doing for almost about 10 years now as far as the makeup. Of course, nothing is ever going to be even. Symmetry has never been my best friend at all. Yeah, you can use the powder and all, but it's to each their own of how they want to do their makeup. This is just how I've been doing it for like the past 10 years. And then using my Coty Airspun mixture here in a big powder puff, we're going to set the upper forehead. Brows are probably the biggest struggle right up to doing eyeliner. Considerably more like the open heart surgery when it comes to makeup. Because makeup artistry has been my biggest articulate outlet, considering that I used to draw during high school, then I did Photoshop. This has just been the fun, creative way to express my creativity. And then taking the Simply Belle Beyond Perfection Matte Foundation in the shade Ivory Bella. So when you do your concealer, you definitely want to have at least something to set it underneath with, because when you leave your foundation or your concealer or any products wet, you're going to run the risk of it creasing, smearing, or smudging throughout the day. Thank you for being observant. So just a light amount of powder to help set it, just that way it keeps it from creasing throughout the daytime, even if it's just a small amount. Oh yeah, I have hooded eyes as well, as you can see where the foundation kind of sits. I would actually draw that hole in with eyeliner just to make it look like it's a single line. It's just basically a hack of trying to give the illusion that it's there when it's not. Now filling in the rest of these brows, we're going to go in with some brow powders. This and this and this and this. There we go. So for today's brow color, I'm going to be using this Hard Candy Sunset Natural Bronze Powder in Cocoa, which is just a nice light shaded brown. And then using, oh yeah, my favorite makeup brands, oh god, definitely Profusion, especially when it comes to shadows, because they are both inexpensive, but they have like the best quality of shadows I've ever used. And I've got a 5-tier dresser drawer that's just full of them. First brow, now moving on to the other. Well, the good thing with brows is that they're never never twins, always sisters, or at least have to be related. There are times mine are just two tenants in the same apartment building. My only issue with those two brands is that they're out of my budget range. Oh, I'm using a little bit of my She Glam press powder. We're going to clean up the front ends of these brows here with this brush. Oh, I love e.l.f. Inexpensive, good quality products. Some of their products may not work for everyone, but, you know, you have to find what works best for you, especially when everyone has different body chemistries, different skin types, skin tones, and whatnot. Eyes, lips, and face, for those who aren't part of the makeup community. I'm going to be taking my LA Colors Conceal It in the shade Fair, along with a flat brush. We're going to carve up the undersides of these brows. Mentally, like what? Being free to be who I am? Guess it's just called living. So that we got the undersides of the brows cleaned up, we're going to take some of my pressed powders here to set. And I'm going to be using my Lottie London Warm Translucent. Let them be who they want to be. If they want to sit there and be rude behind a screen because they got nothing better to do with their lives, that's on them. I'm just here to have fun, show y'all what I can do. I've dealt with this shit for more than enough years of my life to where they got nothing better. Keep that one out. So for the brow hairs today, we are going to be using this Wet n Wild Mega Liner in Deep Brown. No, hating's not funny, but I'm not getting into it. So we're going to use this to create the brow hairs. Just like so. Well, thank you, Emily. Yeah, they're not going to be even, but you know what? Life's never even. Always this one I can get to be a little bit more pushed out, but this one always wants to stay curved. But then again, this eye is a little bit more lax than the right eye. But I've grown to accept that and just say it is what it is. Basically, I'm using this liquid liner from Wet n Wild as the brow hairs just to do the little flicks. Normally I use a this Ulta Beauty brow pen, but I wanted to find something that was a little darker, but you know, but I'm gonna actually go back under and clean it up just a smidgen more. I am 31 years old. It's as close as they're going to get. But this is basically the start, and now we're going to move on to the eyes. So this is my tip that I love using when it comes to doing eyes if you're trying to get that real precise line, which is what we're going to work with. But first we're going to prime the eyes, and I'm going to be going in with the Profusion Eyeshadow Primer. This comes with the Artistry on the Go palette. And it's just a simple little nude eyeshadow base. 4 dots, and then using an e.l.f. Putty Blush brush, it's going to prime this eye. Alrighty. And then today's best friend when it comes to getting a precise line, a little bit of Scotch tape. Right about there. So we're going to be going in with the Into the City eyeshadow palette, which is just a couple of neutral tones, some dark tones. This is a basic every girl on the go style palette. And we are going to be taking this LA Colors tapered blending brush and this light shade right here. Going to use this to create our shape. Just like so. And then taking another brush, this is a Profusion flat tipped brush. We're going to take the dark brown here to start defining the crease. I'm going to tap on the edges here. And then taking that other brush with the same color, adding just a little bit. And we're going to blend out the edges using little circular motions. And so that's our crease shape thus far. And then just for a little bit of drama, we're going to take this Real Techniques brush. It's a flat packer brush with the black. And then taking the brown brush again and just going over the edges. No, that's fine. What's funny is whenever I hear myself, I don't sound like it. But when I hear myself in recordings, it sounds just like my dad. It's a little like deep and nasally in real life versus how I'm hearing it, which is always funny. Now we're going to take my Hard Candy Glamouflage in Vanilla and try to cut this crease using this flat brush here. 1, 2, and 3. And just like so. And then we're going to go in with the cream tone right here with a flat edge brush and set that foundation. It can. That's why I usually just use a dip or just dot it on there and use whatever brush I'm using to kind of feather it out or just blend it in. And then going in with that black, we're going to define that edge one more time. And then taking this other Real Techniques brush, this little fluff brush, we're going to go in with this tan color. Oh. Alright, and then just finishing it with a bit of dark brown just to buff that edge. And that was the black one. Oops. Nope, I just mixed it up. Okay. Why are you using a press powder? When using a press powder, it's actually to each their own, because some people prefer using a puff, some people prefer using brushes. I prefer a brush just because I'm more articulate. But it's all dependent on the person, pretty much. What are you using makeup as? Just for articulate purposes, showing off some of these brands' new products that come out. I'm just a bit of a makeup junkie, to be honest. Okay, and then with the final reveal. And now we're going to do this to this eye. And then 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Mads. And then, there we are. Right about there. And same as the first verse. So taking that more pinky tone. And the brown. And then the black. I need a drink. Well, like I said, the brows are kind of like the most difficult next to doing the liner, but we all win at something and we all lose at something. Right, now we're going to cut this crease. We got 1, 2, and 3. Oops. That's about even. A little bit of love. Everybody say love. Can you feel love? Like this side wants to be a bit of a butt, but you know what? All right. Not exactly even, but then again, nothing else is on this channel. Okay. And then just to add a little bit of fun, I'm going to take like this silverly shade here. Ooh. Just a nice little hint. Alright, now we're going to clean up the underside and start our under eye concealer and highlighting. To do that, I'm going to be using a little bit of my Ellen Tracy foundation. I'm using my Real Techniques brush from before. Now we're going to move on to nose contouring. I'm going to take this e.l.f. putty bronzer brush and, where'd it go? My Hard Candy Bronze Face in the shade Sweet Tea. Got 1, 2, and 3. Uh-oh. Might be too much. Kind of there, but a little bit of a fail. My bad. I'm going to use a little bit of this tan Revolution contour stick. A little bit better. Excuse me. There we go. It's a little bit better. Now I'm moving on to the bottom half of the face, taking the same foundations as before. My She Glam. A little bit of that Ulta. And then just for the bottom half for some coverage, I'm going to be using my Maybelline Superstay in 120 Classic Ivory. And using that AOA brush to kind of buff this down. Now moving on to the cheek contouring, we are going to be using these two Revolution contour sticks in the shade Tan and Warm Chestnut. Warm Chestnut is a deeper shade to use to give the contouring a little bit of depth. Nice thing about these is that they're very, I want to say good viscosity, so they blend out nicely without it being too crazy. So I'm going to use my link. I'm using the same brush as before. There we go. I'm just taking my sponge from before. We're just going to enhance that and re-enhance this a little. Okay, and on to the other side. And now on to trying out one of these new blush shades from Profusion. This is in the shade Strawberry Daiquiri. Ooh, that has a nice pink. This is great once it's powdered. Right, and then just lightly contouring my jawline. Right, powder time. Right. Taking my Simply Bella and my dusting brush, we're going to start dusting off any of the excess. Alrighty. Now moving on to the nose contour. Always so fun, she said with sarcasm. Where did that sponge go? And then just taking a flat edge Eco Tool sponge with this Bitter Butter Physicians Formula illuminating powder. I'm going to use this to highlight the bridge of the nose. Just like so. And then taking this e.l.f. Blending Perfectors brush along with a little of my super matte powder from Revolution Cosmetics in beige, we're going to contour this nose. God, it's weird. And just like so, got yourself a contoured nose. And then just taking this dirty, raggedy powder puff, I'm going to take a little bit of this e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Light. Nope, that's not it. 205 Light. And we're going to highlight the under eye. And also just dusting over with my powder brush with my She Glam. Now on to playing with this mini contour palette. Let's see. First, I'm going to at least use a little of my natural contouring that I love using, which is my Buttermelt bronzer from NYX in the shade Buttercup. I'm just going to use this to lightly bronze my contoured regions. Right. And then we're going to take this angle brush from, I'm guessing it's LA Colors. It actually doesn't say, but if it is, no, this is a different type of brush at Walmart. We're going to take this into the City contour palette and taking that contour shade to buff out the top. And then taking the angled brush that came with the palette, and we're going to use this for blush. And we're going to dip into the lighter peachy pink tone here. Damn, that's got some impact. Okay, and then just taking a little, and then taking my, where'd you disappear to? My Super Stay Powder Foundation in the shade 112. We're going to use this to cut the undersides of our cheeks. And then taking this large mask powder brush, and taking a light touch of this L'Oreal bronzer in 200 Fair. And then taking my highlighter brush here, it's just a fan highlighter brush, and taking the highlighter in the Profusion palette. Oh, very subtle, I like that. And I'm just taking what's left on this blush brush to clean up this edges here. Now onto the under eyes, we are going to take my Hard Candy Whiteout eyeshadow stick to do our waterline. That way it kind of opens up the eyes a little bit more. And then we're going to take this little pointed brush and take a mixture of the dark brown and black to start smoking out the under eye. Just like so. And then taking the large fluff brush here, we're going to take some of that tan brown from before. And basically like that. To finesse these under eyes a little bit more, I'm going to take a little bit of my concealer in white with a larger kind of, even though it's technically used for painting, but I'm going to use this to kind of help do the inner corners a bit better. Doing that. And it's just going to at least start it there, but we're going to take a white eyeliner to fill in. And I'm going to be using this dip liner from Revolution. Much like that. And then to do some of the under eye detailing, I'm going to take this Profusion Cosmetics Wing Liner, which has a very thin pen. Just to define that under eye. Then I'm going to take that same smudge brush from before, just add a little bit of black. And we're going to smoke out. Right. And now onto the upper lids. I'm going to take my Profusion Cosmetics Everlasting Liner. And just like that. And as you see, it kind of definitely helps to add that dimension and that drama that we all crave in our lives. Just don't want to be part of it. Whew. There we go. All right, now moving on to first coat of mascara, which I'm going to be using my Rocket Volume Express by Maybelline. First step, got a white lash hanging right. There we go. Okay, now moving on to the lips. For today, I'm going to be using something a little more neutral for this look to make it kind of even. I'm going to use my Lottie London All Day Slay matte lipstick in the shade Slay All Day Squad. And we're just going to lightly gloss it with this Profusion glittery pout in the shade Divine. Now on to some lashes. What choice do I want to do today? I think I'll stick with my little pretty ones right here. So for my lashes today, I'm going to be using a bit of my Ioni Lash pen and glue liner together, and my Duo Rosewater Biotine Strip Lash Adhesive. I'm taking a pair of Revlon tweezers. Take out the first lash. I swear to God, this one disappeared like the last time. Put the glue in the lash strip a little bit, and then going over the top. Just like that. Whew. Lashes are on. All it needs is a little more mascara. And then just one more piece de resistance. God, you would think I would be doing this for the first time. What the hell? I feel like the lips could use a little darkening around the edgings, so I'm going to take, that's too red. Ha! I'm going to take this Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Lipstick in Scandalous, and we're just going to do the outer edges of these lips. Much better. It's got a bit more of a definition. And now for the last piece. All right. And there we are. Using the Into the City Profusion Artistry on the Go palette, we created this nice full face glam girl on the go. I do appreciate for those who have stayed and for those who were polite in the comments, shall we say. Even though this wasn't my greatest one yet, but you know, you live and you learn. Still think that this turned out pretty damn great, especially with this piece on. And for those that want to try to say it, no, it's not a mental thing. It's just a simple fact that ties the look together to create it to be a little bit more on the feminizing style. And for those that want to sit there and be rude about it over the screen, just know that I'm living my life as authentically and as fun-loving as possible. If you have the time to sit there and be rude across the internet, maybe you should find something else to do. Find a new lifestyle. But until then, love you guys, and thank you so much for sticking around for this, and I will see y'all soon. Until then, stick around for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for my Cherry Blossom Pink, my Cruella de Vil Black and White, and then the final rainbow look before we hit the 30th for the Pride Parade here in OKC. Until then, love you guys.